Charles Lamb's essay, A Dissertation upon Roast Pig, was published in September 1822 in London Magazine under the pen name Elia. This essay is one of Lamb's most humorous and entertaining works. It is full of wit and amusement from beginning to end. Lamb narrates a funny story about how people first started roasting pigs, while also giving insight into his own love for food, especially roast pig. The essay begins with the claim that in ancient times, people did not cook their meat but ate it raw. According to the narrator, there was a time in China known as the cook's holiday, which suggested that people did not know about cooking before a certain period. He refers to the writings of Confucius, who, according to him, mentioned how roasting was first discovered. The narrator then tells a story about a Chinese boy named Bobo, the son of a swineherd named Hoti. Lamb presents the story in a humorous way, saying that his friend Thomas Manning told him about it. In this tale, Bobo was playing with fire one day, as he often did, and accidentally burned down his family's cottage. Inside the cottage were 9 pigs that were caught in the fire. After the fire burned out, Bobo smelled something delicious. Out of curiosity, he tasted the burned meat and found it incredibly tasty. He could not stop eating. When his father Hoti discovered what he was doing, he was shocked and angry. Not only had Bobo burned down their home, but he was also foolish enough to eat the burned pigs. However, Bobo eventually convinced his father to try the meat. To Hodi's surprise, it was delicious. Father and son agreed to keep this discovery a secret. However, the taste of the roast pig was too tempting. They found themselves burning down their houses again and again to enjoy this newfound delicacy. Soon their frequent house fires attracted attention. People in the village began to suspect something unusual was happening. Eventually, their secret was discovered and they were put on trial. The villagers, curious about what had caused these mysterious fires, decided to taste the burned pig themselves. To their delight, they found it delicious. The judge was initially outraged by the destruction of property, but a few days later, a fire mysteriously broke out at his house as well. Soon, fires were appearing all over the town, and roast pig became a beloved dish. After telling this story, the narrator goes on to express his deep love for roast pig. He describes in detail the crisp skin, the juicy fat, the delightful flavor of the meat. He humorously compares pigs to humans, pointing out that both are known for their love of food. He also notes how people who enjoy eating pork often share characteristics with the pig itself, though he does so in a light-hearted way. Lamb then recalls a childhood memory to highlight his feelings about generosity and regret. When he was a young boy, his aunt gave him a plum cake as a special at the end of a holiday. As he walked to school over London Bridge, he saw an old beggar who greeted him and asked for help. Since he had no money to offer, Lamb gave him the entire cake. At first, he felt happy and proud of his generosity. However, as he continued walking, he began to regret his decision. He realized that by giving away the cake, he had been ungrateful to his aunt, who had lovingly prepared it for him. This story adds to the humor of the essay as it shows how human emotions can shift from joy to regret in an instant. Lamb's enthusiasm for roast pig leads him to make some statements that may seem unkind towards pigs. He describes with great delight how the eyes of a pig melt when roasted and even mentions an old practice of whipping pigs before cooking them, which he seems to approve of. However, this is part of his playful and exaggerated style of writing rather than a true sign of cruelty. He admits that he enjoys all kinds of fine food, from exotic birds to oysters, and loves sharing good meals with friends. But when it comes to roast pig, he finds it difficult to share. He compares his experiences with the beggar and the plum cake to his feelings about roast pig. showing how human generosity can sometimes be mixed with selfishness. The essay ends with a reference to how ancient people used to sacrifice pigs by whipping them before cooking. This raises a moral question about enjoying meat, especially when it involves suffering. However, the narrator does not seem concerned with this dilemma. Instead, he casually suggests a delicious sauce made with shallots to accompany the roast pig, keeping the humorous tone of the essay intact. Lamb's writing style in this essay is lively and free flowing. He often moves from one idea to another in an associative way, making unexpected connections between different topics. This method allows readers to gain insight into his thoughts and personality. The essay contains two main anecdotes: the story of Bobo and the discovery of roast pig, and the childhood memory of the plum cake. Both stories serve as examples of his central theme: how people enjoy food and amusing contradictions in human nature.